video is about the process that I go through when making a costume. Everything always starts the same. It starts as a sketch, as an idea. For something like this, I start by talking to the person I'm working for and what they want. And in this case, it's a custom Jedi outfit. This one isn't going to be based on canon, extended universe, movies, games, none of that. It's going to be taking liberally from those canons and building a unique piece for the individual. So more along the lines of something that they may have wanted if they lived in that universe, for example. Something to wear to Comic-Con, to do just for fun. So I take an idea, I take what they've given me, and I start sketching. And I go back to them and start making notes, talking about what they would want it to look like, make notes about how the construction would work, how stitching and details might be put together, start thinking about what materials would need, different details that would go together for it. And then as I get more detailed about what I can do for construction, how I want to do stitching details, how I want the fabric to lay, how I want to connect pieces and make it so it can come on and off. So in this case, a zipper and a tie inside. Then I go back to the person I'm working with and talk to them about, is this really what they want? So we can look back a couple of pages and see. I had a sash and a belt that's more traditional, trying to keep details that the person really wants. So the fraying on the side here. And they said that's not really what they want, so we talked about what they would really want. Something more along the lines of Han Solo's gun belt, for example. So we reworked the idea, talked about how they would want it to fit, until I came up with a final design plan. The next step is choosing materials and colors. So I'll take these drawings, take them into the computer, and start playing with them in Photoshop. So, off camera, I took the sketch that I had before, took a picture of it, took it into Photoshop, traced it out, and made this file so that I can quickly and easily try out a bunch of different color options. My personal preference is to use a Wacom tablet and to just sort of work free-form, mixing colors. There's lots of tutorials on YouTube about how to do digital painting. I do that, only I keep the lines on a layer by themselves so that I can quickly turn them on and off. I have the camera pointing at one screen. I actually have two screens. On the left screen I have all of my tools, so my layers, my brushes, the navigation, these sorts of things. Like I said, lots of tutorials on how to do painting. I would look those up if you wanted to do it, because that's not really my focus here. There's other people who are way better at it than me. You should probably focus on them. But just as a quick rundown of how I have things set up, in the background I have just a white layer so that I can quickly and easily see colors. And then above that I have a layer that is a cutout of the shapes. So I have the lines and I just trace the inside of them using lasso tool real quickly, and then made a layer of that by itself so that I can preserve the transparency on that layer and really quickly color on it without leaving. It's almost like it forces me to stay coloring inside the lines, but then I can just go to town and be kind of nuts with it, which makes it a lot faster and easier. But with no further ado, I'm going to start working on different color options for this. Okay, now that I have it all together, you can clearly see how I went from just having the sketch to tracing out the lines I wanted to keep. I skipped a lightsaber because I'm not going to build it anyways, and it's just kind of fiddly. Fixing a few details where I was just a little bit lazy in the earlier sketches. Adding in a white background, and then filling in the color. Now the nice part after doing one good clean, color it all in, is you can just duplicate the layer that you have colored in and grab a paint bucket, and you can just start choosing and filling in real fast because everything's got nice defined lines on it. So I can now really quickly build an alternative version without really any fuss. And some things which I know aren't going to change, like these belts are always going to just be leather belts, so I don't need to worry about their color. I can get a little bit more creative with some things, like what if the cloak is more for a dark Jedi? And there, now I have a second variation. Now, I haven't done any shading on this for two reasons. The first off is I don't really need to. I'm not rendering this out. This isn't an art piece. And two, that would stop me from being able to just drop in. Unless I made a layer that was just like gray shadows layered on top to give a little bit of chiaroscuro to it, which I could do, but I'm not going to because that other reason that I just mentioned. It's not needed. Now, once I've decided on a final one, I might come back in and do it then, just to play with it, just to show a little more differentiation. Like you can see here, you can see the front of the cloak has tatters and then the back. It might be fun to do a darker color in behind here and then back inside the hood, just to show that depth there. But it's not really needed. This is more deciding on the palette and being able to have a few different options that I can easily switch through and show the person I'm building it for. Say, do you want to go more with dark here, or do you want to go more dark back here? Do you want to build recessing color, or did we want to just mix it up entirely? So this is the stage that we get to where we finalize our palette before going and buying and then ironing out the rest of the construction, which will be the next step in the next video where I describe how to take a pattern and create the pieces. I like to, I'll go into detail on that next time.